Hi, Ashwini. Thanks for joining. My name is
Hi, Sid.
Sid Madhopadi. I come from banking background all along. Before that, I was in consulting and now trying to establish a payments business out of the UK and India. We're glad to have you, and we would like to pick your thoughts on the overall industry of the students, particularly from the India, foreign students, I mean, too, and how your startup is trying to fit into this entire horizon of these foreign student marketing and business, right? So if you can start with a bit of introduction of you, and then we can go just some industry insights from you.
Sure, sure. Thank you, Sid. First of all, for having me here, and it's pleasure to be connected with you. So this is Ashwini Jain. About my background, I originally I'm from Jaipur, and I did my bachelor's from IIT Bombay, and then directly went to US for my master's. Spent almost 6 years in the US. I was working for a global Dutch company based out of Atlanta. There, I was helping multiple clients like CSX, Port of Miami, Canadian National Railway, Georgia Department of Transportation, like all these type of clients on the enterprise digital transformation side. So mostly my work was on the data science, data analytics, low code, no code, system integration, software implementation, all those type of work. So had a very good experience. At the same time, company had surplus amount of cash during the COVID time. So they were looking to hire some top-notch people who have the experience in the civil engineering side also, plus technology. And that is where I was helping global executives on the corporate M&A side. I was evaluating some companies on the technology front, sustainability
Okay.
front, at that level. So had a
Okay.
very, very good experience, moved back to India in 2021 and to work on ForeignAdmits. Yeah. So this is
That's
about
great, man.
me.
That's great. I know since you have gone through the process of getting the admission into a foreign university and then going through the entire realm, the life cycle of it. Um, how do you think that it has been evolving over the last few years, right? And where do you see this moving forward also? I mean, in terms of the behavior of the entire market as well as the opportunity and across the world as such.
So yeah, that's a great question, right? So if you talk about the industry, so let's put it into this manner: demand and supply, right? So demand is basically, like countries in the abroad countries, right? And supply is basically countries like India and other developing countries are supplying the students. So these developed countries have the aging population, like Canada, Japan, Austria, Sweden, like multiple countries, like US
Mhm.
also, right? So there the population is aging, and now they are basically looking to have younger population. And one of the best way to invite younger population is through education, right? So that is like the demand side is sorted, right? And when it comes to the supply side, these countries like in India, right, we have limited higher education institute, right? Okay, and then people are looking for quality education that is not available or that is limited that is available in a limited manner in India right
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
And hence there is a good combination. Developed countries are looking, and then India is able to provide. Not only India but developing countries are able to provide. So situation is today almost 57% of the younger population is looking forward to go abroad for their education. Means out of two people, every like one person wants to go abroad. That is the situation.
yeah,
And down the line, I think this number will be definitely increasing because people are looking for good quality of life. People are looking
yeah.
for good job opportunities, right? People are looking for better lifestyle, etc. So
That's great. Are there any specific countries students are looking to, particularly from India? Because these days you'd see them everywhere and all over the place, right? So just thinking, is there any, a picking order for the students in terms of the priority or the, type of universities or education which they would like to opt for?
yes, definitely. So what happens is almost five countries covers like 90% of the demand side, right? So for example, first number one is US, number two is Canada, number three is UK right now, number four is Australia, and number five is Germany. These are the five countries which basically caters to the 90% of the demand. Now these days, Middle East is also coming up, like Dubai and Saudi Arabia, because a lot of foreign
Yeah.
institutions are setting up their campus there, and now these destinations are also coming up. So yeah.
Typically, what are the factors which drive the students to opt for a particular country or the university?
Hmm. So that's a great question, right? So see, every person has different requirements, right? Okay,
Yeah.
some people, some students prefer a specific country, some students prefer a specific university, also, right? So let's suppose if we talk about the top creamy layer, right? Like top 5%. For them, the university ranking matters a lot, right? So let's suppose if suppose somebody is going for MBA, then
Hmm.
their preference will be Harvard Business School, or like MIT or Stanford. Then they will not be looking to other countries, right? Their focus or their priorities will be university focused. Rest, who are going to or the tier 2 institutions or tier 1.5 institutions, their priorities are mainly divided into some of the areas. Like for example, number one is US. People want to go to US because there are good job opportunities. That is the number
Yeah.
one,
Yeah.
right? And they already have some family members, or they already have some people from their communities. Like for example, people from Hyderabad, right? They generally prefer US because they have a good amount of network of friends and their family members as well. People, that is like one category. Second category of people want to go to Canada because Canada offers PR opportunities, right? And then the low cost of tuition fee as well, right? You can go to Canada and have your PG diploma in like less than 10 lakhs rupees. So that is a good factor behind the Canada.
Yeah.
The third one is UK. Third one is UK. UK offers 2 years of post-study work visa. So once you finish your studies, then
Yeah.
you have up to 2 years to find a job, right? So that basically is a very lucrative offering from the UK side to among the students. So these are majorly three, four, like criteria which the students are looking to it. And now Australia is also providing good amount of post-study work visa, and they have a lot of rules relaxed as well, and
Yeah.
hence Australia is also again picking up after COVID.
Yeah. And why these still that covers 90% of the market, right? And what is the other factors which we may be missing or something like that, which drives the students to look into the other markets, rest of the 10% I'm thinking of. So
Great
are there
question.
there must be
Yeah,
something which may be driving them, right?
yeah. Great question. So let me take an example. Let's suppose, uh, France, right? Okay, so somebody is going for 1 year of MBA program, right? Top institutions in for MBA. Then HEC Paris is like one of the institutions, right? Similarly, somebody is going for maybe medical as well, right? Okay, right? Then maybe China and other countries like Russia as well, right? So these are the other territories and the reasons, right? That is the reason that students are opting for a specific geography, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe suppose somebody wants to go to topmost institutions which provides fashion designing course, right? Then maybe the country can be, maybe they can opt for France or specifically Paris as well.
Got it.
So depends on the university. Then they go for program specific, university specific, courses as well.
And these are the drivers typically going to be there going forward as well. We don't expect a lot many changes to this as a kind of what drives this to Indian students going to the foreign countries. These are broadly the factors, or is there any internally within India also changing something in the way I'm just thinking students opting for very niche courses, which may not be the case earlier on or at present. So if is that trend going on, which may drive the students opting for other countries, other universities, or a type of courses which they take out.
Great question. I think regarding the countries, I don't see much changes. The biggest change is gonna be on the type of courses.
Okay.
Right now, the ratio is basically almost 80% of the people go abroad for master's program, and almost 20% students go for bachelor's program, right? But down the line, this number for bachelor's is going to increase because the average income in India is also increasing. The world class education is also getting affordable. Plus, the credit facilities are also becoming lenient as well. So earlier, 10 years ago, getting a loan, unsecured loan, was like almost impossible, right?
Yeah.
Today,
Yeah.
getting an unsecured loan of 1 crore rupees is very, very easy, right? So
Okay.
so that is like one of the reasons that undergraduate education is also booming up. Yeah,
Okay.
these are the 2 3 reasons. Because so down the line this number can go up to 65 35. So 65% of students for postgraduate and 35% of students for undergraduate.
Okay. That's good to know that. Um, okay. I'm just taking some notes as well. Right. So how do you guys now you established the market, and that is that is broadly the trend at the macro level. Can you educate us a little bit on how the entire this counseling market, essentially the market which helps the students move or choose in your country university course, and then they go through the entire motion of getting that admission and moving there, and then settling themselves in the destination country. Can you just lay us out how it works, and and then what are the changes, which may be happening or which are happening, and in that entire life cycle.
Yes, very good question. So, see, every year almost 8 lakhs fresh students are going abroad. And at any point of time, okay, every year almost 14 lakhs students are going abroad as well. So 8 lakhs fresh students and total 14 lakhs students every year, right, who are going abroad. So fresh means, let's suppose, who are going in the first year, and total 14 lakhs means maybe the person might be doing third year of course or fourth year of course or second year of course, right? So that is the 8 lakhs and 14 lakhs. So the way this entire industry works is typically the creamy layer, right? The top 2% of the students who want to go to topmost universities, right? They don't basically compromise on the university part, right? They want to go to the topmost universities. And that is where basically these universities do not give any commission, right? Okay, for the referral part or on the recruitment. The student has to apply directly to the university website, and then the student has to pay some fees to the counselor, right? The counselor will help them on finding the universities, doing the research work, helping them on or helping them on guiding how to build resumes or SOPs or LORs. And typically counselors charge from 50,000 rupees to 5 lakhs rupees, depending on the course, depending on the country as well, right? So this is generally the creamy layer that I'm talking about, right? The second layer is, majority of the mass market, right? Like
Hmm.
90% of the students who goes to tier 1.5 universities or tier 2 universities or tier 3 universities. That is where most of the universities give commission to the agents or counselors, right? So some people call it as a counselor, some people call it as a recruitment agent, right? The work of a recruitment agent is basically that, hey, this student want to go abroad. Now the agent will be giving the suggestions about these are the 5 universities where you can apply and you can get an admission letter. And there is one driving force also behind this. See, most of the times these students do not have any income, right? So
Yeah.
what happens is generally they are looking for people who can help them on for free of cost. Right? So they don't have to pay money, correct?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then they don't want to pay money for the application fee also, right? University application fee,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
The entire process, like giving the fees to the counselor, giving fees for the test prep, and giving fees for the university applications, it can take 1 lakhs to 2 lakhs rupees basically, right? But again, students generally do not have any income. They are dependent on their parents, right? And most of the times parents don't give money for these type of things, right? Okay, right, 1 lakh 2 lakhs rupees, it's a good amount of income. So what happens is universities say that, hey, we are not charging any fees for your application, and counselors or agent also say that, hey, I will basically give you an admission for free of cost to these universities, and
Mm.
then this agent will be getting the commission from the university. That
True.
is how these counselors make money basically
All
as
right.
well.
All right.
Yeah. So let me tell you about the size of the industry. right? Okay. Uh, in India, there are like 50,000 plus companies who are operating in this space. 50,000 plus.
That's a
I'm not
massive
talking
number.
about, yeah, I'm not talking about individual counselors. I'm talking about companies,
Companies.
organizations.
Mm.
Yes.
That is a pretty good, pretty massive market, right? So that brings me the question on how do you, it is in a way in an unorganized sector there, right? In a more sophisticated one, but still an unorganized one. So how do you think that you guys are, foreign admits as a company is going to establish yourself as a digital provider effectively, particularly given that there are some digital providers out there and including some international players also. So how are you guys going to fit into this one?
Great question. So the way, see, there are like, as I mentioned earlier, there are 50,000 plus companies are out there in the market who are helping the students and, getting them in the admission, right? Or helping them in getting in admission. So there are some digital players also, right? Who are operating directly in the B2C space, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And the way, and this is our also learning from our earlier experience when we were doing the direct counseling of the student, what we saw that this market is highly fragmented, and there cannot be a single winner taking the entire majority of the market, right? The market is so fragmented that no single player can take more than 1% of the market, more than 1%, right? So that is the, like, I would say our
Why
own.
would you say so? Why would you that they can't control big market? Is there any specific reason?
Because see, there are two reasons. Number one, or I would say three reasons. Number one, these 50,000 companies already have their presence at a regional level, at local level, in so deep, right? They have like depth that they have connections at a local level, right? Okay, and replacing them is very very difficult, right? Replacing
Okay.
them is very very difficult.
Okay.
Second is it's a service driven business, right?
Yeah.
Because you are not selling a consumer product, right? It's not a soap or oil, hair oil, or like a toothbrush, or that you can sell digitally, right? It's an education industry where people are spending 20 lakhs, 30 lakhs, 40 lakhs, right? Okay, and it's a life changing event, correct? What happens is, generally, in this type of industries, a lot of fraud happens. So when, let's suppose if I'm a student, I want to go to the local counselor, I want to see them face to face, I want to see their office, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
having a regional presence is very very important,
Got it.
right? That is the reason no single player can take the entire market, or I would say
Okay.
cannot control more than 1% of the market. Last but not the least, the ticket size, the commission that they receive from the university is very high, like per student. Typically, the commission is 1 year, 1 lakh, or minimum 1 lakh, but it can go up to 2 lakhs rupees per student also. So
Mm.
let's suppose even if I'm a counselor working for a big company, typically the barrier to entry is very low. What will happen is I will work for 2 years, and I will know that, hey, today I'm making 5 lakhs rupees, but tomorrow if I will start my business, then within 2 years I can make 15 lakhs rupees per year.
Yeah.
Right?
So
Because
yeah, that is an enticing numbers, right? I'm just thinking, what stops somebody to spread across as a franchisee model or whatever the model and spread across entire country and could be a pretty good competitor for even for the regional players. Would that happen?
again, that is where some of the companies try to do it earlier, but again there
Hmm.
was a cap basically, right? Okay,
Okay.
they try to have 50 franchisees, right? But again,
Hmm.
taking it from 50 franchises to 5,000 franchises is a very very big deal, right?
It
People
is.
try
It
to
is.
do that, but 50 to 5,000 is a different game basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you understand. You know the market. So how can you just walk us through how do you guys thought of moving from a counseling business into into the model which you are delivering now, and what are the prospects? How do you go about the team formation and particularly the founders formation also? So can you enlighten us a little bit on that?
Yeah. So me and my co-founder, we were both basically doing the B2C business, right? Counseling business earlier, right? But again, having a background, like my own background in enterprise digital transformation side, right? Okay, I brought those learnings from there, and evaluated that if we want to grow at a very fast pace, right? Or if we want to control the market, then rather than basically going B2C, the best approach or the best way to scale up is B2B2C, basically.
Yeah.
Because these counselors or these companies, what we saw is, they're still working in a traditional manner. For example, they don't have any CRM. They're still operating in Excel files, right? They
Mm.
do not have any digital presence, means they don't have
Mm.
any websites, right? And also, as I think you mentioned, there are some online aggregators, right? Okay, let me name those sub companies like Applyboard. Yes, they are
Yeah.
in the business. So what we saw is basically these counselors are able to do the application piece through Applyboard as of now. But when it comes to the departure journey, which is like loan, accommodation, credit card, bank account, insurance, SIM card, right? There is no single source of truth for them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what we saw is basically what these counselors are thinking. Hey, I'm making 1 lakh rupees from the commission from the application, right? Okay, now the departure journey is not my core expertise, right? Okay, and this is basically where I don't have the partnerships. This is where I don't have the bandwidth also. So generally the mindset of these counselors are like, hey, now let the student figure out everything by themselves, right? So I'm not saying there are companies not trying to solve the problem, but they are basically solving specific pieces. So for example,
Okay.
some companies solving the bank account problem for US, some companies solving the insurance problem for Australia, some
Yeah.
companies solving, the SIM card problem for Canada, right? But
Yeah.
again, let's understand these counselors have students, going to multiple countries, right? Like US, UK, Canada,
Yep.
Australia,
Yep.
Germany, right? So the problem is basically for them is like, becomes enormous. Correct?
Okay. Okay.
Because country is one thing, and then piece has
Is
multiple
another
products.
thing. True. Even
Is
some counselors do have, I have seen where they have a tie-up with either the university or the counselor themselves having a tie-up with the specific banks, for getting the loans, for enabling the loans, etc. Right. So that is localized, or is that a common trend across the country?
No, that is localized. So what happens is
Okay.
generally what they do is basically just to tell the students that hey, we can help you in getting the loan. Because see, if the student will be not be getting the loan, then they will not get the commission, because
Correct.
then they will not be able to go. that
Absolutely.
is the
Absolutely.
that is the reason they have to sell that hey, we can help in getting the loan also, right? What
Okay.
they do is basically they talk to their local part, right? Okay, local branches, and say that hey, I will be referring these students to you, and you basically look into that.
Yeah.
So currently, what is happening is this experience is operating, or currently they are operating a very offline experience, right? So there is no digital mechanism, right? Okay, or
Okay.
there is no formalized contract or anything like that, correct? And
Sure.
that is the reason we come into the picture, right? We tell these counselors, hey, you don't have to be dependent on the bank, right? Because the bank is not giving you the visibility that how many students they're receiving from you, what is the commission you are going to make, right? Okay, all these. What if the student wants to opt for another bank, right? Then your banking person will not be telling you, right, until the
True.
last moment.
True.
Correct. So all those things will happen, right? Bank will not give you the visibility, right? That this is the status. That is where we come into the picture. We tell them that, hey, you don't have to worry about all these headaches. Our platform is capable of all of those things, right? You basically tell your students, okay, or you refer your students on our platform, and we will take care of the entire departure journey. You
Okay.
focus on your core capabilities, which is the admission piece.
Yeah.
That is where we come into the picture.
Right. Yep. So, and then there would be a revenue share with the counselors also on the entire revenue. And
Exactly. So the way we are different is, first of all, we are reducing the headache on from their side. Number one. Number
yeah.
two is we are basically giving them transparency, and number three is we are sharing the revenue with them also,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
biggest, see, today, let me tell you one of the insights that we have today. This is a Uber world, right? This is a Ola world or Swiggy world, right? Let's suppose if you are taking a ride, then you want to see how far is my ride, how much time it's going to take, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're ordering food from Grubhub or DoorDash or from like a Swiggy, then you want to see how much time it's going to take, where is my
Yeah.
delivery executive is, correct? The trend is changing. People like transparency, and that is where we
Yeah.
are not saying that we are a loan company. We are saying that we are selling the transparency to these agents, that hey, this is the platform. You will be having 100% transparency on your money and the applications, whether it's a loan applications or whether it's a forex or whether it's an accommodation, right? Okay. Plus, you will make extra money.
Sure. So at the moment, you guys have the entire solution built in, and then the team is in place, and you have the number of counselors also onboarded. Can you give some quick stats on that one, if that is okay?
Absolutely. So we have capped number of businesses to 500 as of now. Okay. So
Okay.
500, yeah, this is like within like last 1 year. And so 500 businesses are already onboarded on our platform and using this. And we have 80% retention rates on the free platform, right?
Okay.
So and this is like one of the very interesting insights. Generally, free platform do not have these type of retention rates, but this is where we have 80%. This is the average retention rate. In some of the
Okay.
months, we have 95% of the retention rates as well. And these 500 students, sorry, 500 businesses are adopting the platform, and the adoption has increased 40 times in the last 6 months. So let
Okay.
me give you a quick stat, right? 6 months ago, when one agent on an average used to give zero point 0.1 student per month, today those all these 500 agents are giving 4 student per month on an average, right? So that is the number. So that
That's pretty
means
good.
the adoption has increased 40 times. It's just a matter of the time this adoption will increase more and more and more over the period of time. Yeah. And
Is there any reason why you guys have capped the number of businesses to be onboarded, or what was stopping you?
so yeah, that's a great question. So after this, we are raising another funding round, because right now we are operating city by city, right? So we are operational in 3 cities, Bangalore, Delhi, and Hyderabad. Because what happens is, when you onboard an agent or a counselor, you have to maintain the relationship, right? You
Yeah.
have to give them a training. You have to meet them basically on a regular basis. You have to be on top of their mind, basically, that hey, there is a company called ForeignAdmits, right? This is how B2B businesses are built, correct? I mean,
Yeah.
so, and that is the reason that we have the limited bandwidth, and that is the reason we kept it 500. From here, after this small funding round, we want to expand to top 20 cities of India.
Okay. Okay. Is it that what is the disincentive for them not to be engaging you guys? Because it's a new revenue opportunity, if not anything else. So they have to be referring to you, right? Or do they have any other option to do that, to get that revenue?
So there is there is no other company doing this type of work in the market. So the only way for them to do all of these is to directly tie up with banks, basically,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
let's suppose if they say, "Hey, I will directly tie up with the bank," we are like, "Yeah, why not?" Again, but then it's a headache for you, right? Okay, then why do you want to have a headache and everything, right? You can focus on your core business, and we can basically give you a good commission as well,
Fair
right?
enough.
So that is
Yeah.
one thing. Second is, I don't see that as a challenge, right? Second is, sometimes what happens is they are also hesitant about services. They are like, hey, let me give you one lead or one student or 2 students, let me see the service and everything, let me see the transparency. It's like testing, basically, right?
Hmm.
Correct. Yeah. So this is typically happens in every business as well. So this is how it works. And then after maybe 2 months, right? Okay, then they can give more and more students. But
Okay.
ideally, nothing is stopping them as of now. Okay, it just basically, there are early adopters. There are like mass markets, right? Okay.
True. 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 So the way to onboard or get the customer acquisition is through your sales agents. That is a standard model, or is there any other way were you able to convert any of them?
Yeah, so well, right now we are going city by city. So we get the database of those people, we start nurturing them, right? Okay. And then have a demo and then onboard them, right? Okay. So
Perfect.
typical B2B. Apart from that, we participate in conferences, industry specific events also, right? So that way we can build the branding as well, right? So that the trust issues basically, reduces. So
That's perfect.
trust among these agents also increases down the line.
So if I remember correctly, the loans is the biggest drive for you guys in terms of revenue and even the getting the counselors onboarded. How about the other residual services? How they are performing, and where do you see that growing up? because when you talk about journey, the journey is loans is still they're still in India. Once they leave India, that's when the fun starts, right? The bank account, the forex, and the accommodation, and getting part-time jobs, and everything for that matter. So how do you
Yes.
guys are planning to do that?
Yeah. So the way what happens is, said now these days there are basically solutions, right? Or for example, bank account. You can open the bank account for UK while still you are in India, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so those things are possible. So we are also offering those type of products currently on the platform. So we are
Okay.
offering like apart from loan, we are offering like accommodation, bank account, insurance, credit card, SIM card, right? Okay, forex cards, etc. Right. So this is all like departure services. Down the line, we plan to engage students in the post arrival phase as well, like for example getting part-time jobs, how to build your resume, right, how to get internships, how to get jobs, right, okay, or maybe credit card as well basically, right, so that,
Yeah.
or maybe giving them deals about discounts, coupons or something like that, right, through the credit card. So those type of things we have in the pipeline down the line, basically we have in the
Okay.
pipeline. Yeah.
The reason I asked is because I appreciate that you're trying to onboard the counselors, but if the driver for the students to come on board to you, students to use your services, that would the growth would be much faster, isn't it? They will have, they will tell counselor man, we would like to use your services, right? Foreign admit services. That's a nice place to be in, right? If students also forcing the counselors or influencing the counselors to start using your services, I think that would be a great. I don't know. I'm just thinking aloud. That may be a great growth opportunity. Yeah.
Yes, exactly, right. So, and that is the reason, see, like in the last 1 year, we were able to onboard 500 counselors or companies. We have 300 companies are also in the pipeline, which we are
Okay.
basically holding, right, as of now. And this is like one of the growth driver, right? Because students were telling their counselors, hey, this is the platform, right? Okay, so you're absolutely right, basically, right? But again, currently the product is B2B2C, right? Okay,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
agents also have their own login, as well as they can give the login to the student as well,
Okay.
right? So that way the student is saying that, hey, my counselor is basically giving me this platform and the experience is very good, right? Then the word of mouth will start spreading basically. So that
Absolutely.
is the reason we have both the side of the platform, B2B plus B2B2C. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. I know this is a great opportunity, right? And it is growing and big numbers as well in terms of the revenue potential. What are the typical headwinds you expect to, you know, stop you or slow your growth or impact you in general way? And how you planning to address them? Did you guys think about anything?
No, that's a great question, right? So, see, I think the only thing is now what we see is I think we have to grow faster from here because the words are out in the market, right? And people will try to copy us, okay?
Mm.
And definitely we have started seeing in the market now because the business model is unique, right? We are operating in a niche space. So the only thing is basically maybe some bigger company, okay, they say, hey, now we want to basically compete with foreign admits, right? Okay, so that is the only risk or the threat that I see, right? But again, I think building the technology, right, it took us almost 1.5 years, right, to build this technology up to this scale, right?
Mhm.
Integrating with banks also, right, it takes time, correct? I mean, so uh, I think the advantage for us is first movers advantage, right? To be
Yeah.
honest, we have the first
Yeah.
mover advantage. We have the good technology platform because what happens is most of the times companies basically build either B2B or B2C side of the platform, right?
Yeah.
But we have built a B2B2C side platform as well, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what happens is, let's suppose if I'm a counselor, I can share my own personalized link with the student, and if the
That's all.
student register using that link, student can also do the DIY journey, and whatever the journey that a student is doing, I can see in my dashboard because I refer that student, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
No, I know
building
what you
this
mean.
type of, yeah, so building this type of technology takes time basically, right? So we have the first movers advantage. Now we want to scale up faster from here basically.
And absolutely, in my mind, the part which you mentioned, the where you are interfacing with the banks, and if you establish that, that is a sticky one, right? And it is banks do not like to give away or spend time on giving away, at least no offense, but Indian banks particularly, it is pain for them also to spend the time on integration with various providers. So if you already have that, seamless integration, that is a great thing. And if you're thinking of building similar thing for the rest of the services, like even for opening an account abroad, or getting accommodation, that itself is great. um, for the last one, probably from me, the ancillary services, right? So is there a plan or roadmap on, let's focus on the US first and cover the banks, the accommodation providers, and the the part-time job providers, etc. Is that how you are thinking of? Or let's come and bring, it's a, is that let's bring along whoever comes on our way types?
No, great question, right? So this is one of the biggest problem, or one of the biggest challenges behind building the marketplace, right? Again, because in marketplace there is demand side, there is supply side, and in our industry there is another complexity is geography wise, right? Okay,
Yeah.
generally, right? So there is a third layer of third component of geography here, right? Okay, so it's a
Yeah.
3D problem. It's a 3D problem for us, right? Not a demand supply problem.
Mm.
So great question. So what happened is now we are able to solve for example, couple of pieces, right? For example, we have solved the loan piece, right? Okay, where we are like one of the best product. We have one of the best product in the market today, right? We have solved the visa piece. We have solved the forex piece. We have solved the bank account piece also, right? Now, for example, for some of the certain services, for example, like accommodation, right? Accommodation is, still we feel that, we are not the number one player in the market, correct? And that is where we will be focusing on country specific, right? We will be focusing on one country at a time. Again, as you mentioned, part-time jobs, right? We will be focusing on one country at a time, right? So yeah, we have that in
That's
the roadmap. We have
that makes
that in the roadmap as well. And we have already started working on it, actually, to be
okay.
honest. And yeah, but we will see more efforts after basically some
Fair enough.
capital infusion.
So that's my final one. So is the purpose of this capital raise is to spend on the, of course, expanding in the within the in country markets, and also having anybody or engaging the these third party institutions outside? Is that the purpose of it?
Yeah, so the purpose of basically this fundraising is mostly on three fronts, right? One is we want to increase the distribution network. So today, where we capped at 500 companies, we want to increase this to 4,000 companies in the next 9 months. That is like number one. Number two is we have a very good platform. We want to bring certain automations. We want to introduce blockchain also in our platform, because our industry is highly document driven industry, right? So
Mm.
blockchain also play, and there are multiple stakeholders as well, correct? Banks are there, universities is there, agents are there, students are there, right? Okay, so to build the transparency and trust and security, we will be introducing blockchain in our platform very quickly as well, so that
Mhm.
we can maintain the complete transparency. So certain automation, certain I would say securities as well, and introducing blockchain. So this is like the number two. And number three is introducing new products, like for example, part-time jobs, as we discussed earlier, right? Okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
So in specific countries or accommodation in specific countries, this is the number three where we will be using this capital.
Okay, that sounds reasonable. Blockchain is an interesting twist there. Hopefully you'll get the technology built on top of that as well.
Yes.
That is quite interesting, and thanks for sharing all this. And all the best, Ashwini. I'm sure you guys
Thank
will
you.
do great things with this. And yeah, all the best, and we wish you and your team great growth here onwards.
Thank you so much, Sid. Thank you. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.